Hello, mic testing. Hello, 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 hello. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
മതിയോ അനിയാ മതിയോ ചെക്ക്
Hello, mic testing. Hello, hello. സ്നേഹമുള്ള അച്ഛന്മാരെ, hello, mic testing. Hello, hello. Hello, Father Roy. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, 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 hello. Hallelujah. ഇവിടെ ഇരിക്കുന്നവർ അക്ഷമരായിട്ടിരിക്കണം. ടെസ്റ്റ് ചെയ്തുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ് പുറത്ത്. ഹലോ, ഹലോ.
So, my dear fathers, good morning, and brothers also there. Okay, good morning to all of you. Today we are having our common recollection day. We have decided in our last annual gathering that we should have at least two common recollection day in the year. Therefore, this is for us the first common recollection day after our annual gathering. So we are happy to come together. Some fathers could not come today. The North Kerala affiliation, they have some urgent this language institute program. And Brother Jindo, he couldn't come because of some urgent program in the parish. From the Bangalore, most probably not, because they have tomorrow is Sunday. They have Sunday programs. But anyway, we are a small group of fathers here, at least about 18, 19 fathers are here. We are happy that we are here in the shade of our shrine here. So we have our special guest, Father Francisco Sobral, the general course leader, at the same time our family council member. Father Francisco Sobral belongs to the generation Vita Surgantum Christo, Father Roy and myself and he is course brother of Father Roy. He is for the second time here in India, 11 years ago, 12 years ago. He has been here once. He also saw or experienced that a lot of development here in the whole country is happening. So that also same thing is in the community also. Many fathers are there and some developments he experiences too. Therefore, we have a special privilege to have him here in our monthly recollection day today. And this evening he will go to Bangalore, and from there he will go to Punjab, then he will go to Germany. But here mainly he also will little bit explain us the process of becoming a province. Yeah, we have been preparing a lot to become a region, and now to become a province, spiritual preparation, I think is from the part of the General Council. Will explain us something, and how do we prepare ourselves, and we shall spend this the whole till noon time recollection, then after the Holy Mass. So we welcome Father Francisco Sobral wholeheartedly to the Providence region, very officially, at the same time that you have consent to give deliver this recollection talk. Thank you. And another our highlight is today, as we have announced earlier, we shall also give a send-off to Father Biju Parapuram as a regional procurator. He has been working 8 years for the as a regional procurator for the region. So that will be also, he will be the main celebrant of Holy Mass, and after the Mass, we'll have a small felicitation and thank him in a special way. Okay, thank you. So Father Francisco Sobral, welcome. And in the beginning, we will sing a song.
So good morning to everyone. I'm very happy to be here with you. I have had the opportunity to visit most of you in your houses and affiliations. It was a very good experience. I felt very welcome everywhere. I received a lot of good food, as you can see. And today we are here for the monthly recollection, common recollection. So it's a very full day, a day full of experiences because of thanking Father Biju, especially for these 7 years, I think, as econome of the region, also seeing each other, encounters. So I don't know how much spirit there will be to do a real rent to you. One part is more like inspiring this first time of prayer, the recollection itself, and the second part to try to inspire you in this path that is now ahead until the moment where you become officially a province of our community. So let's go for it. It is a day of prayer, of encounter today. And the first thing to become aware is that each one of us is coming from his work. So many different places and experiences we are coming from. And also some are joining online. Perhaps someone is behind that camera looking at us, so welcome to this meeting too. Not only the places where we're coming from are different, also the atmosphere, the situation of our soul and our heart is different for each one of us. Some might be happy and fulfilled with their work. Some might be a little sad. We know that Father, this shrine, together with the old shrine, the first shrine at Alur, is where we live from as priests, as Schoenstatt fathers. Those are the places where our Mother and Queen is giving out the grace to cope. Show your real face, your true face to her as it is. She knows each one of us, and she has no problem in looking onto our real situation, our reality, our real face. Before our Mother and Queen, we never have to do as for everything you are doing for the community, for everything you are doing to our students in the school, in the language academy, in SALT, in the academy here, for all that you are doing for families and youth and vocation work. Thank you. She says to each one of you, thank you, my dear son, for being a priest and for serving and for helping in so many ways. So I invite you to think for yourselves, what do I see that is changing? Just a symbol. What do I see that is changing? I just will name a couple of things and you let it go through your hearts and minds. You all come from very different families comparing to the families, young families that exist today. You have siblings, brothers, sisters. Today, the reality of families has changed. One or two children, perhaps, is mostly the common reality. There is a very strong reality of immigration. Young and intelligent people are going abroad. Some of you are preparing them to go abroad, teaching them German. So this is part of our reality and of our work too. And yesterday, when I was in Jivalaya, there was a cook, and some of the fathers there cannot speak to the cook because she comes from somewhere else, from north. So there's also this reality of immigration the other way, not only Keralites going abroad, but people from somewhere in India coming to Kerala. Different languages, different mentalities coming into Kerala. We have a different image and self-understanding of women coming up. And that is my second photo on this slide. So, a young woman riding a strong bike, and who else is on that bike? Women. So women are much more empowered, independent, autonomous, not riding in the traditional way behind her husbands, but riding on herself, on their own much better motorbike than the other one on the other photo. For us, the image and self-understanding of priests is changing. We are learning slowly, slowly not to be the ones who always have the last word, who always have the saying. We are learning to talk with lay people, with everyone in the church on eye level, eye to eye, not looking down at other people because we are more important or more wise or more holy. We are beginning to learn that we have made many mistakes in the church, perhaps many more. We will still be known in the near future. So we are learning to become humble. It's a different way to be a priest. Perhaps a way to be a priest that is more likely to Jesus and to the gospel. I think that is a good development, although it is a difficult development. We all know about the situation of the Syro-Malabar Church. Bishops and priests discussing and not being united is not a good example for the people of God. And we will have to see how the people of God will react. In Germany, we are seeing that the people of God are going away from the church because they don't trust priests anymore. Hopefully, it will not be as strong as that here in Kerala, but we'll have to see. This is present reality. Things are ongoing. We don't know what will happen at the end of all this situation and discussion. And you are surely seeing many things changing that I haven't seen. These are only some of the things that I have noticed. So we are invited to be priests in a changing world. And I invite you during this next time of prayer to think a little bit about it. How would you describe in your own words what is happening in each one of these areas of society? Nevertheless, this is what is happening outside. And I think the more important question is what is happening inside of me. So which feelings does a changing society outside awaken inside of me? What does this awaken in my heart? How am I, as the person that I am, with my hopes and fears, with my concrete structure, the way I am, how am I reacting to what I see outside? Some of us might see this whole changing situation and might have feelings like these ones. Some insecurity, some fear regarding the future, some unease or discomfort, some disorientation. What should I say? How should I behave? And perhaps, at least those who are my age, we could be longing for the good old times. Long time ago, it was much better than it is today. We can begin to think, how would our father and founder react to such a situation? Would he feel and think like this? Some of us may feel completely different, because there are perhaps some of us who like new challenges and adventures, new possibilities. Perhaps a changing situation will provoke in our hearts like new ideas and creativity and missionary spirit. And one way or the other, I think we are all invited to trust in divine providence. We are Schansat fathers, so we are the ones who trust in the God of life, in the God of history, in the God that is acting in everything that happens. That is trust and faith in divine providence. He is alive, he is acting, and we try to see what he's doing or trying to do in society and in the church, and we try to help him as his covenant partners. I invite you to try to be sincere to yourself. At least before yourselves, don't try to hide your feelings or to run away from your feelings. Try to think about them. Try to get some deeper insight, to get in contact with your own feelings and your own heart, and see what is happening to you as human beings, as Christians, as priests. What is the present situation of my country, my society, my church making with me? What is happening inside? Try to be sincere. put a name to that. Put a name to your feelings, perhaps to your fears or to your joys or to whatever you are feeling. And I also invite you to not only keep it inside. Try to find one person at least of your trust and talk with that person about what is happening to you. How am I developing as a person, as a priest in this present situation? I asked you before, what would our father and founder perhaps be feeling and thinking in this situation? I think it would be something like this. 1912 in Europe, there was a very challenging situation. So a war was coming up, things were broiling, things were changing, and he said this, 1912, to those young people in the seminary. It was the day of the pre-founding document, and this is just a quote of that document. And he gave them two options. Well, then backwards. So let us return to the Middle Ages, to the good old times. And then he immediately said, no, never. We do not want that. And that is impossible to go backwards. We may not and cannot do that. Then the option that we have is forwards. Yes, on with the exploration and subjection of our inner world through dedicated self-education. The greater the exterior progress or change, progress is another word for change, the greater the exterior change, the greater the deepening of our inner life. We want to learn to educate ourselves to become firm, free, priestly personalities. We always know this by heart. For that, may God give us the blessing. And here I put a phrase that I will repeat a couple of times now. Let us be disciples of Christ for the future of Zion. So, educate ourselves, give more attention to our inner lives, become real priests, real Christians, real disciples of Christ for the future of Zion. I think that is what God is asking of us at this moment. So be ready to build up our community. Of course, on the roots of former generations, of everything that is there already, like our centers, our shrines, the fathers that have been our superiors and formators, that are our roots, but let us go towards the future. And I think one main characteristic and a difference perhaps of walking into the future is that as a community, many of us have been walking very much alone, in a very much individualistic way. We are men. Each one of us likes to be a king and have his own kingdom. That's the way we are. That's our nature. And that's okay. It's natural. But let's try something different. When we started to use the image of Emmaus in our general chapter in August, it was about two disciples walking together. It was about thinking that some months before that story, Jesus had sent his disciples 2 by 2 to do their mission. Not 1 by 1, 2 by 2. So we are starting to learn and to try to live our priesthood that way. So building up teamwork, giving tasks to people not 1 by 1 but 2 by 2. We have started that already in some of our provinces and regions. You all have heard about the 4I principle. Usually it's used in business or important bank accounts. That 2 people, that means 4 eyes, should be looking into that. Not one person alone, signature, and then he can withdraw money from the account. So it's like a security for business things, the 4I principle. But we are trying to do that everywhere. The main place now is our novitiates. Not one novice master alone, as some of you have experience with a little help from associates, but 2 people living there all the time. 4I principle, working together, teamwork, Emmaus, 2 by 2. So that's what we're trying to implement in as many areas as possible of our life and work. I will skip this. This is a quote of Pope Francis. I will give this to all of you. This Pope Francis said last Wednesday, 3 days ago. He talked about a Korean saint, Andrew Kim Tae-gon, a martyr, and he said that that saint worked in a situation of persecution. in a situation where it was not easy to be Christian, in a situation that was much harsher than it is, of course, in Kerala now. But anyway, I think we all have some feeling that many things in our surroundings are not friendly towards Christians. Some negative feelings are there toward Christians in some places. So in a certain measure, this applies to us already now. And this saint could not meet in public with other Christians at that time. If he was seen talking to Christians, he would be arrested, as he was later on. So he had very short meetings, and the only thing he asked to the Christians he met was, "Are you a disciple of Christ?" That was the only important question. Very short talk, yes, no, and then he said some sentence to help people being disciples of Christ, and then he had to go away again. So making evangelization in a very concentrated manner, in a very short manner. And that is why I took this word also for us, disciples of Christ for the future of Zion. So this was a little bit of impulse for your praying today. And now another aspect of this day, of this gathering, of this common recollection, is starting a concrete way towards becoming a province. So this is also a topic of prayer and reflection and talking among us. Let's go a little bit backwards in history. This is a path that is not beginning today, of course. It started long ago. You have had many steps already. So at some point there were German fathers working here. At that time there were fathers from the congregation of St. Vincent, being your formators of the elder ones who are here in the minor seminary or in philosophy. And then at some point there was the Indian delegation of the Zion province. That was one first step towards autonomy. Thank you, Father Shelvin. Thank you so much. You'll receive this PowerPoint anyway for yourselves afterwards. The next step was becoming the Indian region. And I want to remind you, not every one of you was here at that time, but many were already there, and you had a very deep preparation process. You even nominated a committee. My brother, our brother, Father Andrew, was part of that process, inspiring the spiritual part of the preparation. You had a novena, for example, a novena that was prepared especially for that act, that ceremony of becoming a region. And I would like to invite you to go back to those documents. They must be somewhere in the archive, somewhere in your filiations. They might still exist with a little dust on them. Try to take the dust away and to look again into what you have prayed as Carolite, Schoenstatt fathers and students at that moment, what you asked for, what you committed yourselves to. So I think that was a very intense phase of preparation when you became a region, a whole Indian region. And then there was a next phase where we created two Indian regions, Providence region and MTA region. And there was also an important process. It was different from the other one because here you were trying to find your identity. What should we choose as a name for our region? Who are we? Specifically in Kerala as a new region of our community. And you chose to be Providence region. So there I would also invite you to undust those papers, that process, and look again into it in the next weeks or months. What did it mean to us at that moment to choose the name Providence region? And perhaps there you can start the present process. Is this still meaningful to us now? So is that the name of our province? Have we experienced something new after that time of becoming the Providence region. What else can we say about ourselves now? What is our identity in the present and for the future? When I was trying to prepare this and I began to think about the name Providence Province, I noticed that it is difficult to pronounce Providence Province because both words start the same way. So you try to say it and think about it, how it should be, how the name should be. An alternative would be to turn it around and have an off in between, the province of Providence or the province of Divine Providence, but this is your thing. I don't want to influence you, just inviting you to take that old process and make another step on that spiritual process of finding identity, of finding your mission and your vision towards the future. Here I have some numbers. They are quite small there on the screen, but at least the young fathers can read them, and the older fathers with the specs perhaps can read them too. So this is something about the growth of your region, future province. 10 years ago, you were 30 fathers in this place, and suddenly you are 50 now. So 20 more, almost double in 10 years. In 10 more years, you'll be more than 60. This number 60 is only the sum of 50, which you are today, with the 10 students that are there. But tomorrow, 5 more will start novitiate. So you can already add 5 to that and pray that all of them will end formation. Then you'll be 65 in 10 years. But we know how things are. Probably some of them will not come to the end of formation. But anyway, there's a growth. But I also want to draw your attention to the fact that this growth is slowing down. So in 10 years, probably you will not be 20 more as it happened in the last 10 years. Probably, we don't know. Our dear Lord can always make miracles. But think back of society changing. So I suppose, thinking humanly, only with human criteria, our Mother and our Lord can always do miracles. But with human criteria, we could suppose that at some point you will stabilize somewhere with 65, 70. My dear elder brothers, at some point we will be sick, we will die, very probably. So things will stabilize at a number around that. So we won't be 200 nor 500, probably we will be 70 something in the Providence province in the future. So just raising awareness. And now coming directly to the process of becoming a province. The General Chapter made a decision, many decisions, but this was one of them. The decisions to only have delegations and provinces. Why? Because regions had something to do with a foundation time, with a starting period. And somehow this difference between provinces that are there, at the moment only 2, European province and Pentecost province, and regions, was making an unnecessary difference between somehow elder sons and a little younger sons. And the general feeling in the community now is that we don't have younger sons anymore. So all the regions have been there for a long time. Brazil, Argentina, our regions have been there for a long time. MTA, Providence have already been there for decades now. So it's strange to make this difference. So there was a decision, no more regions. Everyone is the same level, okay? So that change was already approved by the Vatican. And we still have a step ahead of us. This will come on the 30th of August. At the present, we are preparing the translations of the constitutions. They were handed in Spanish. We are translating into German and English, the official languages of the community. We hope that this work is finished in the next couple of weeks. And on the 30th of August, for the feast of our community, Zion Community, The new constitution will be sent to everyone, and our general superior will declare from this day on they are into effect. They are put into effect. And together with that putting into effect, there will be a period of time, a time frame to adjust to the new constitutions. So there are some other changes there. For example, the period of General Council now is officially 6 years. Last time it was just an experience. Now it is put into the constitution that the period is 6 years. So everything that has changed, and especially the things that need a period of adjustment, will have that possibility. So probably until February or March 2024, you will have the time needed to make the adjustments to become a province. What kind of things are we talking about when I say adjustments to become a province? It means moving towards a stage of consolidation, and it has somehow symbolic meaning and power of itself. Now we are a province. That means we are not anymore in a period of foundation. We are equal to other provinces, full responsibility in the Sion community, okay? So there is somehow a change in our mindset regarding that. It is an invitation to consolidate our customs and structure our organization. Also to consolidate and look into our being an ideal. I talked already about that, looking into that old papers, seeing if they still mean something to us, or if we can write now like a different self-understanding of ourselves as province. And also consolidate the mission, our main task, that is the movement work. So try to do steps towards all these things. It is about becoming aware that we are taking our final place in the Sion community. There is nothing more or higher or more important than province, to be a province in the Sion community. So this is the final place, the final step you are taking now. And it means taking full responsibility for the community as a whole, becoming, as I said before, an eldest son together with other eldest sons. We walk together. We walk on eye level together with all the other fathers and provinces in the rest of the world. I'm going to go a little faster. You can read this afterwards. There's a possibility, of course, of having your own delegations, of going abroad to other countries whenever you wish, and you decide, and the General Council only confirms when you are a province, you decide we want to have a new delegation in, I don't know, Vietnam, South Korea, my main and favorite idea. You have to decide a couple of things on this process until the official ceremony of becoming a province. You have to decide where the provincial house will be. I think that is clear, but you have to decide it formally. Why? It is canon law. When a province is erected canonically, the bishop of the place where the province house is has to be asked for his signature. Okay? So the official canonical erection of a province is made by the general superior and the bishop of the place where the province house is. So you will need to decide that. You will need to talk with that bishop and inform him that we are going to constitute a new province, and he needs to be asked for his signature for that, okay? Then there needs to be a responsible person for the free communities on the province level. There needs to be a responsible person for safeguarding abuse prevention on the province level. His contact, his name needs to be published on the website. All these are demands from the church in general when there is a new province. Then one thing that has been a very good experience in the other provinces that already exist, European province and Pentecost province, is an intermediate level of responsibility. You know that on the highest level, General Council, there is also once a year at least, sometimes twice a year, a meeting of several days with the higher superiors, with the regional and provincial superiors. So General Council and higher superiors are a body that has a gathering twice a year usually, and there are some decisions in our community that cannot be made alone by the General Council. they can only be made by the General Council with the higher superiors. For example, the foundation of our community in a new country, that has to be approved by the body of General Council with higher superiors. In a province, it has been a good experience to have somehow that kind of structure. Not only the council alone, but the council with the rectors meeting once or twice a year and looking at the reality of the province and making some decisions on that bigger council. So provincial council with rectors of the filiations. So you can think about it if you want to start something like that too. And then the last point, things to be discussed, decided, implemented, are assistancies. Usually a province is a thing that is too big to be run alone by the provincial superior. So in the other provinces, the provincial superior has given each of his councillors a task. So to be assistant for one part of the topics of the province. For example, there is one in my province, Pentecost province, there is one councillor who accompanies specifically the work of the filiation rectors. So he's always in contact with the filiation rectors and seeing if they need, if they have some questions, if they need some help, if there's some issue in the filiations, normal filiations of the province. Another assistant might be the contact person for formation houses. So he is in contact with the formations inside the province and is seeing if they need some assistance, some help. Another counselor might be responsible for the contact with movement fathers specifically. So you understand, tasks are usually divided inside the council, and councillors need to have some more time to work as councillors. So they are not anymore normal movement fathers or whatever they are. They need to have a big portion of their time to do their work as councillors and assistants for some specific part of the life of the province. So all these are things to be thought about. Perhaps some of these are already there, of course. You are already a big region, but you are growing, you will be even more, and this needs to be thought of. How can we run a province which is becoming bigger, which is having more and more filiations, okay? So things just to think about. So this is the final slide I have. Everything on one page. General chapter has decided, Rome has approved, April to August official translations. August, General Superior will send the new constitutions to everyone and they will be put into effect, and there will be a time to adapt to the new constitutions until February or March 2024, because those are the dates of the annual gatherings in all the regions. So here and also Brazil and Argentina. So this is the time you'll have to prepare. And then at the end of this time, at a date that you will set, you can decide about this, when you want to become formally a province, annual gathering or another date you can choose. There should be a formal ceremony where the signature of a document by the General Superior and the bishop, where the provincial house will be formally signed. And from that moment on, the new provinces will begin to exist as such. I don't know if you have any question about this process. Any doubt, you can pose it now. I'm finished. So we will go to a time of personal prayer or talks or encounters. But for my part, I would be finished with what I have to say. So, any questions, doubts about this process, you can ask now. Otherwise, this province will exist until the second coming of our Lord. Fruitful life of the new provinces as fully mature part of our Sion community till the end of times. Any questions? You are sleepy. we need a tea or a coffee, I'm sure Father Biju has provided. Okay. So, thank you very much for paying attention, and I wish you a blessed day of praying, of encounters, and also afterwards a blessed celebration of Thanksgiving to Father Biju.